Tonight, the center of the political universe will move far away from Washington to right here, Danville, Kentucky, where Vice President Joe Biden and Congressman Paul Ryan will square off in a high-stakes debate. High stakes. A recent CNN ORC poll shows the challenger with a solid advantage, as 55% of likely voters say Ryan will win the big showdown compared to 39% for Biden. Joining me now, both from New York, CNN contributors Roland Martin and Cain. Will, first to you. All right, so who is a bigger challenge? Is it Biden? Does he have to undo the damage from last week's performance? Or is it Ryan because he has to appear presidential and keep the momentum going?
No, it's Biden. He has the biggest challenge because I think he has a little bit of a tonal tightrope to walk here. He's got to, as you said, make up for what seemed like a lack of aggressiveness, a lack of challenging Mitt Romney last week. I think he's going to try to do that. I think he's going to come out strong and he's going to be aggressive, but he can't come off as overly aggressive, right? So 4 years ago, everybody said, Joe Biden, can't be overly aggressive, can't attack Sarah Palin, that's a woman. But he's going to be a little unleashed now. He's going to have expectations of aggressiveness. I think he has to be careful not to overdo it because that doesn't play well, whether you're against a man or a woman.
Okay. Roland, you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, bottom line is I think we need to stop this game of, well, who has more to lose, more to win. Let's put this in perspective for the American people. We are going to see a debate between two people. One of them will be one heartbeat away from the presidency. And so we need to see strong performances, strong content from both of them. And so obviously Vice President Joe Biden has to make up for what took place last week in terms of being able to lay out a clear, coherent plan. But I don't think you can be over-aggressive if somebody's lying. I think what his job is to say, if Congressman Paul Ryan is making statements that aren't true, it's his job to correct them. Also, this debate is a little bit different because foreign policy also is going to be a part of this debate, as opposed to last week, it was just domestic policy.
And Joe Biden definitely has the edge on that just from experience. But I mean, Roland, even when you're debating, when you're in a high school or junior high school debate club, there is a winner and there's a loser, and that's in vice presidential debates and the presidential debate, there is a winner and there is a loser. It's about who performs better.
Well, but also, let's break down how we defining winning. Are we defining winning based upon a performance in terms of who acted well, or are we defining winning based upon what they had to say? And so, bottom line is, so again, we can base it upon performance. Will not talked about this here. So much of this stuff is style over substance. People say they want substance, but they also love to vote on style. Again, you're going to see a different tone this week, and I think that Vice President Biden is going to be very aggressive. Forget overly. He'll be aggressive at going up to Ryan, and Ryan will return the fire as well because they understand the stakes.
I don't have time because we're running out. We're running out of time here. But I think whoever defines how do we define winning and losing, I think that actually it's defined by the poll numbers because it clearly shows there's a momentum on the Republican side.
But we also define it by the spin after the debate as well. So that's also key.
So, but listen, finally, let's talk more about polls. That's how I brought the poll numbers up. There are so many of them flying around. It's hard to know what exactly to believe about the state of the race. Take a look at Jon Stewart on The Daily Show.
The presidential race has now tightened considerably. How do I know?
A new poll from the Pew Research Center.
Gallup Daily Tracking Poll.
Rasmussen Swing State Poll.
Epic MRA Poll.
Fox News Poll.
Polling from Siena College.
Quinnipiac Poll.
Marquette University Poll.
ABC News Washington Post Poll.
NBC News Wall Street Journal Marist College Poll.
The 7-11 metric. You get a red cup for the Republican. You get a blue cup for the Democrat.
Of course, there's just one small problem with all this data coming in. It has a tendency to contradict itself. Just yesterday, Obama was simultaneously up by 4, down by 2, and tied with Mitt Romney.
Well, he does have a point, and many of us think the same thing about polls, what to believe, what not to believe. But I tell you one thing I notice. When Romney's down, the Republicans say the polls are fixed. They don't believe it. When Obama's down, Democrats say the polls are fixed. They don't believe it.
Look,
how much stock should we put in polls?
I think this is one of the few things that Roland and I have an actual agreement upon. It's the limited value of polls. We're constantly trying to turn an election into a football game where we can count the score midway through the game. There's only one score. It's how the vote turns out at the end. And until then, you have a choice to make between two different sets of ideas. This poll taking is just an attempt to make this entertaining along the way.
It does offer a snapshot, does it not, Roland?
Yeah, offers
constantly
a snapshot,
moving
but
one.
guess what? but the picture is now blown right past us. The key for both campaigns is what is going to be turnout, driving their people to the polls. The real analysis, what are the numbers for early voting in the places that have already started? That's going to be a real measurement. I don't lose sleep over who's up, who's down, because at the end of the day, not a single person has ever been elected based upon a poll. You better get your people out to vote if you want to win an election.
Yeah, the only polls that matter are the ones you have to get your people to go to vote. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.